Why are you listening to me? I don't care what you do once this thing's over with. You can lay down and die and rot in the street.
For years, fans of Bonanza have adored Hoss Cartwright, the gentle giant who brought warmth and humor to the screen. But behind the scenes, Dan Blocker, the man who embodied Hoss, had a life full of surprising twists and untold secrets. Now, at 66, one of his sons has come forward to confirm a long-suspected truth about his father, a revelation that could change everything fans thought they knew. Before diving into these shocking revelations, it's essential to understand the early events that shaped the man behind the legend. The Bonanza star Little Joe may have won hearts with his charm and good looks, but it was Hoss Cartwright, the gentle giant, who truly stole our affection. With his humble nature, boundless innocence, and a heart as pure as gold, Hoss became more than a character. He became a beloved figure embodying warmth and strength in equal measure. Born Bobby Dan Davis Blocker on December 10, 1928, in DeKalb, Texas, Dan arrived in the world with a bang, literally, weighing an astonishing 14 pounds. This record-breaking birth was only the beginning of a larger-than-life story. Growing up in the small town of DeKalb, Dan spent his early years helping in the family grocery store, carrying bags for customers, and absorbing the small-town values that would shape his kind and grounded spirit. By age 10, he was already taking on adult-sized work, hauling grain and helping with construction. His strength was remarkable, earning him the fitting nickname, the Biggin. By the age of 12, Dan had already reached 6 feet in height and weighed 200 pounds. Some local toughs even tried to challenge him, but Dan never lost a fight. After high school, he attended Texas Military Institute, where he excelled on the football field. His athletic prowess earned him a football scholarship to Sul-Ross State University. By then, he was an imposing 6'4" and 275 pounds, a presence impossible to ignore. It was around this time that a spark for a new dream ignited within him, though he didn't yet know where it would lead. When his college drama club needed a stagehand to move heavy props, they called on Dan, whose immense strength made him the obvious choice. What started as a simple favor, however, led to his first small role in a production of Arsenic and Old Lace. That first taste of acting captivated him. Dan felt the thrill of the stage and quickly shifted his focus, changing his major from English to theater. Though he had offers to play professional football, Dan chose to follow his heart instead. His dreams of acting eventually led him to New York City, where he pursued a career on Broadway. In time, his dedication and talent landed him a role in a production of King Lear, marking a major step toward Hollywood. Yet life had a new and unexpected twist waiting just around the corner. After college, Dan traded textbooks for military fatigues, joining the U.S. Army to serve his country. But the transition was far from easy. Standing over 6'3" and weighing around 300 pounds, Blocker was a giant of a man, and his sheer size created unique challenges for the Army. It took a full month just to find boots that fit his massive feet. Once outfitted, Blocker found himself far from home, thrown into the brutal realities of the Korean War. By Christmas of 1951, he was stationed on the front lines near Chwon, North Korea, as part of the 179th Infantry Regiment. As a combat infantry sergeant, Blocker's strength and resilience made him a force to be reckoned with. Day after day, he and his fellow soldiers endured biting cold, sleepless nights, and the constant threat of enemy fire. For nearly 7 months, Blocker trudged through trench warfare, the echoes of explosions filling the air as he led his men through some of the fiercest fighting the war had to offer. One night, in the midst of chaos and gunfire, he spotted a comrade pinned down and unable to move. Without hesitation, Dan charged forward, braving the firestorm to pull his fellow soldier to safety. It was an act of courage that left him wounded but earned him a Purple Heart, a symbol of bravery that he wore with quiet pride. The fierce skirmishes on Pork Chop Hill were among the hardest battles of his life, testing not only his physical strength, but his character, resilience, and unwavering courage. The battleground of Pork Chop Hill was a place where survival itself felt like a victory. Here, Blocker and his regiment fought on the front lines, defending every inch of land in a terrain where each hill and valley came at a high cost. It was grueling work, and after months of continuous combat, Blocker was finally evacuated, his body battered but his spirit unbroken. He was sent to a hospital to heal from the scars of battle. When he eventually returned home, Dan carried with him the memories of war's harsh realities. Though he had fought with honor, the experience had changed him profoundly. He became an outspoken critic of war, particularly military interventions that relied solely on force. Having witnessed the destructive power of violence firsthand, he became a passionate advocate for peace, condemning the horrors of war and, in particular, the devastating use of napalm. After the Korean War, Dan was ready to leave the battlefield behind and focus on building a life filled with family and purpose. He married his college sweetheart, Dolphia Parker, and together they raised 4 children, creating a warm and loving family life that grounded him after the chaos of war. Though acting wasn't originally part of his plans, life had a surprising twist in store for the towering Texan. In pursuit of his doctorate, Blocker moved to California and enrolled at UCLA. It wasn't long before his massive frame and unmistakable Southern charm caught the eye of Hollywood casting agents. At the time, Westerns ruled television, and Blocker seemed tailor-made for the genre. His imposing presence and rugged good looks made him a perfect fit for the rough-and-tumble roles that Westerns demanded. Soon, he was offered small parts in popular shows. His journey began with bit roles in Western series like Gunsmoke and Colt 45, where he brought an unmistakable warmth and humor to each character. Throughout the 1950s, Blocker steadily built his resume, appearing in well-known shows such as The Rifleman, Have Gun, Will Travel, and Maverick. Though he occasionally dabbled in film, it was television that truly captured his heart. In 1957, he got his first major break, landing a significant role in Restless Gun. His performance resonated with audiences and opened doors to even more opportunities. Soon after, he took on the recurring role of Tiny Boinger, a lovable and goofy ranch hand in Cimarron City, further establishing his reputation as a natural and endearing presence on screen. This character allowed him to showcase his natural comedic timing and hinted at the charisma that would eventually make him a household name. But it wasn't long before Blocker's big break arrived. He landed the role of Hoss Cartwright on Bonanza, a part that would cement his place in television history and catapult him to stardom. Dan Blocker's life took a dramatic turn when he became Hoss on the hit television series Bonanza. This role didn't just change his career, it made him a household name across America. As Hoss, the warm-hearted and towering son of the Cartwright family, Dan became a fixture in living rooms coast to coast. Hoss was a gentle giant, a character who might not have been the sharpest of the Cartwright clan, but more than made up for it with his big heart and genuine kindness. Audiences, especially children, quickly fell in love with Hoss's straightforward charm and his unshakable loyalty to those he cared about. For Dan, Hoss was more than just a character. He was a way to express his own beliefs and values. Inspired by the words of Stephen Grellet, an 18th-century Quaker missionary who urged people to do all the good you can, Dan brought this philosophy to life through Hoss. It was this underlying sense of justice and compassion, so natural to Dan himself, that made Hoss's kindness feel real and earned him a special place in viewers' hearts. Though Hoss was portrayed as simple and innocent, Dan himself was intelligent and thoughtful. He held a master's degree in theater and had a deep appreciation for literature and philosophy. His portrayal of Hoss balanced tenderness with a fierce protective instinct, a quality that echoed his own life as a decorated Korean veteran who knew both the cost of conflict and the value of peace. Dan's imposing frame certainly made him a perfect fit for Hoss, but it was his gentle nature that truly brought the character to life. Just 2 years into his acting career, Dan had become part of one of television's most iconic families. Behind the scenes, he formed close friendships with co-stars Lorne Greene and Michael Landon. The bond among the 3 men went beyond acting. Dan even served as best man at Michael Landon's wedding to Lynn No, a testament to the deep connection they shared. Though Bonanza kept him busy, Dan occasionally ventured into film, appearing alongside Frank Sinatra in movies like Come Blow Your Horn and Lady in Cement. Despite his growing fame, he never forgot his roots in the small town of O'Donnell, Texas. The people back home were immensely proud of the quiet, thoughtful boy who had grown into a television star, bringing joy to millions. Dan Blocker's portrayal of Hoss Cartwright launched him into stardom, though fame was never something he actively sought. With his gentle nature and imposing frame, he became a beloved figure on American television, yet he remained ambivalent about the spotlight that came with success. Acting was his passion, but the constant attention was something he struggled to embrace. He would have preferred to focus quietly on his craft, yet his natural talent and undeniable charm ensured that wherever he went, the world was watching. The love of his fans made anonymity impossible. As much as Dan appreciated their admiration, he found the loss of privacy overwhelming. His towering presence made him instantly recognizable, and even a simple family outing could quickly turn chaotic, with fans crowding around him wherever he went. On one occasion, a vacation to the Yucatan, intended as a quiet escape, quickly became a public spectacle. Locals immediately recognized him, calling out to Hoss Cartwright, leaving little room for solitude. Unlike many actors, Blocker had little desire to remain in the limelight. In 1970, he and his family embarked on a trip to Switzerland. Inspired by the breathtaking beauty of the Swiss lake country, which he had read about in National Geographic, they were captivated by the serene landscapes around Lakes Como and Lugano. For Blocker, the idyllic scenery and the chance to lead a quieter life felt like a dream come true. The family soon decided to make Switzerland their new home. Here they found not only tranquility, but also a high-quality international education for their children, who thrived in their new surroundings. Rumors circulated about Blocker's motivations for moving abroad. Some speculated he faced financial difficulties, but he dismissed these claims, clarifying that Bonanza had made him quite wealthy. His decision had nothing to do with money. He yearned for a life away from the pressures of fame. In Switzerland, Bonanza aired in German, creating a language barrier that allowed him to enjoy his surroundings without being constantly recognized. The Swiss countryside offered Dan the peace he had longed for. Despite his success, he remained humble and grounded, acutely aware of the privileges his career afforded him. The sudden loss of a beloved actor like Dan Blocker, especially one so central to an ongoing series, left an empty space that could never truly be filled. When Dan passed away on May 13, 1972, the shock rippled far beyond his family and friends, touching fans and colleagues alike. To those who worked alongside him on Bonanza, his absence was profound. As Hoss Cartwright, Dan had been the heart of the Cartwright family, embodying warmth and humor that resonated with audiences. His lifelike presence and kind spirit had left an indelible mark on the show, and his passing created a void that no one else could fill. With the start of the final season looming, the cast and crew faced the daunting task of moving forward without him. Hoss was central to the show, and his loss presented a major challenge. Many ideas were considered to address his absence, dedicating an episode to his memory, gently writing Hoss out of the storyline. But in the end, the producers made the bold decision to acknowledge Dan's passing directly within the story. This approach gave both the cast and audience a chance to grieve, paying tribute to Dan's life and allowing them to say goodbye to Hoss Cartwright. The task of writing the first episode after Dan's death fell to Michael Landon, who played Little Joe. Landon chose a subtle yet powerful approach, letting Hoss's absence be felt in the silence and unspoken emotions shared by the Cartwright family. Landon had originally written the plotline focusing on Hoss's romantic journey, but after Dan's passing, Landon rewrote it to capture the grief of losing a family member without explicitly explaining Hoss's death. He believed that silence could speak volumes, conveying the depth of loss in a way words never could. On set, the weight of Dan's absence was palpable. Filming that first episode without him was both painful and healing for the cast and crew, who shared stories and memories of the man who had brought so much joy and warmth to their lives. In the familiar setting of the Cartwright family dining room, where laughter and camaraderie were once the norm, a new bittersweet mood settled. Every corner of the set seemed to hold traces of Dan, and though the crew carried on, his absence was felt in every scene. Without Haas, Bonanza was never quite the same. The show's popularity had already been slowly declining, and Dan's passing accelerated its fall. NBC moved the series from its prime Sunday night slot to a Tuesday night position, placing it in direct competition with other programs and hastening its eventual conclusion. Dirk's understanding of his father deepened as he came to appreciate the rich, multifaceted life Dan Blocker led. He was not only a celebrated actor, but also a man with a passion for justice, a commitment to political causes, and a generosity that touched countless lives. Dirk found inspiration in the way his father embraced life, kept his humor intact during challenging times, and remained true to his values, lessons that continue to resonate with fans and family alike. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please like, share, and subscribe, and turn on post notifications to stay updated with our latest content.